What a game, y'all. What a game. Welcome back to Street Score. Just your boy Rico giving y'all the 2017 Week 9 review edition of Redskins Report. Halloween's consumption of my time carried on to this week, but I'm back. I'm going to get back to giving out these videos. Injuries were bad, but they didn't hurt us enough, and our injuries didn't get much worse for the first time in a long time. But I'm going to get into this analysis. Let's get it.
Why did he? What's that?
Our crazy 17-14 victory over the Seahawks had 68,927 fans in attendance at CenturyLink Field in cold weather. We are now 4-4 in the season, 500, and we are now 3-0 against NFC West opponents. We are also tied for first in the NFL in close games with 100%. Y'all already know I'm gonna hit y'all with these stats this entire episode, same thing every time, but now it's time to get to the good, the bad, and the ugly, starting with the offense. After week 9, our offense is still tied for first in the NFL in 4th and 1 conversion percentage with 100%. We are 3rd in the NFL in points scored on first offensive possessions with 30. And there's a lot more stats we should be proud of, but I'm going to stop here and start my breakdown of the head honcho. Kirk Cousins, he had 247 yards and no touchdowns, but also no interceptions in a game that he was getting beat up, battered, slumped up, beat down, and tossed around. I'm so surprised he made it out that game alive. He didn't do much during the majority of the game, but that was because he was under duress. There were times when he knew a receiver would get open, but the O-line didn't give him enough time to let the route develop, so Kirk couldn't make throws he wanted to and could have made. Also, his top 2 targets, Jordan Reed and Jamison Crowder, were not available to play, so without knowing that, it looked like Kirk had an average game, but he was actually a little above average before that big comeback drive where he was exceptional. But let's get to these highlights and analysis. Kirk was out there throwing some trust in his O-line early, like this play here in the first quarter where Kirk runs through his reads.
On 3rd down, Cousins looking, firing, completing is Vernon Davis.
He also kept his feet moving and made an accurate throw. Peepaw, he had time to make the reads and throw the accurate ball. But as the game continued, as expected, the offensive line started folding, which it was supposed to do with all these backups and players that just got flown in and have never started a game before. Just all kinds of crazy stuff. So also, in the first quarter, shortly after that last highlight, the Seahawks started to get some serious pressure on Kirk.
On 2nd down, the bootleg in trouble. Cousins slings it high, and it's caught. Wow, I don't know if he was going for Pryor or Doxson.
On that play, Kirk was under so much pressure, he had to throw off his back foot, and it was still accurate. Very great throw. I'm proud. Made the most out of a little. And ignoring the pressure, Kirk was out there throwing some great passes, period.
Legs against their pressure if necessary.
4-man rush. He's got time. Throws into traffic. Somehow it's caught by Vernon Davis.
On this play, Kirk threw a very accurate pass to a spot that only Vernon Davis could get it. Smart, accurate throw. Either Vernon Davis catches it or it's an incomplete and the world isn't over. No interception unless some unlikely craziness happens. Now look at this next play.
2nd down. Cousins over the middle. He's got wide open. That time Davis is wide open.
Kirk threw a nice accurate pass to an open Vernon Davis. I love the touch on the ball. Now on to this final drive where Kirk wasn't playing around with anybody. This man Kirk, in one of the hardest places to win football games, against one of the best defenses in the league, with a cold and a headache. The headache probably came from him getting slumped up all game with the Seahawks D-line. But anyway, this man Kirk led the game-winning drive, straight balling. In the first play, Kirk knows he's going to get blasted to the ground like he had been all day, and he still had the will and focus to throw a straight dot to revive the Brian Quick from the Rams.
2nd down. Freeney coming again. Cousins gets rid of it. Has a man. Quick's got it. It's Seattle territory.
And immediately after that, Kirk made a great pre-snap read to see press coverage from a rookie corner and signal Josh Doxson to run a fade or a go route.
Cousins back again, firing deep for Doxson. Diving!
Hey, the ball was slightly overthrown, but I prefer an overthrow over an underthrow any day because he allowed Josh Doxson to make a play. Kirk taking risks. I love it. I want more of that, and I definitely want more of that Kirk to Doxson connection. Good to see their chemistry, communication, and trust growing. Now on to this damaged offensive line. Injuries didn't get much worse, but they're still hitting us pretty hard. Morgan Moses is blocking poorly because he is hurt, 2 ankle sprains. Brandon Sheriff, Spencer Long, Shalon Laval, and Trent Williams were out because they were hurt even worse. Morgan Moses, all the way on the right in this picture, is the only starting O-line that played. They all need some time to recover, but at least all of them except Morgan Moses got a game off to recover a little bit. But Morgan Moses clearly needs time to recover. He's just a shell of himself with them ankles. But time to focus on who played. TJ Clemens, Eric Kwanjo, Morgan Moses, Chase Roulier, Tyler Catalina, and Tony Bergstrom, who only played on 5 offensive snaps. As a whole, they had a couple of plays where they allowed Kirk to do his thing, like this play.
On 3rd down, Cousins looking, firing.
And also on this play against a 4-man rush that's supposed to be blocked well. It's expected, but definitely not guaranteed with this group.
2nd down, Cousins over the middle, he's got wide open.
But for the rest of the game, they were bad. Look here where Tyler Catalina just has some ugly blocking. Just straight up got beat. And look at this play where TJ Clemens let 80-year-old Dwight Freeney hit him with the spin move.
They have to get to the 32, 4-man rush, Cousins in trouble. They have to get to the 32, 4-man rush, Cousins in trouble.
And then of course there was this.
Blitz, Cousins in trouble, buried, Bobby Wagner for 2.
Like to come after you. They've got them backed up, and they sent everyone.
They did Kirk so filthy. Looked like Willie Beeman at any given Sunday. My boy Jamie Foxx was out there getting pummeled against the Seahawks. Kirk was sacked 6 times. Y'all hated on him. But individually, Eric Kwanjo was the most effective. Wasn't great, but he was better than the others. Chase Roulier regressed a little. Wasn't terrible though. TJ Clemens was pretty bad. Morgan Moses played like he was as hurt as he was. And Tyler Catalina was clearly the worst out of the group. He's so bad there has to be anybody better than him out there somewhere. There has to be somebody on another team's practice squad, or Joe off the couch, or Steve at Walmart, or somebody's mechanic. At least they can do a better job. Somebody. Now the running backs. Rob Kelly got 2 goal line touchdowns behind some good blocking, like this game winner here.
And Anderson comes in at fullback. Kelly the back. Rob Kelly going forward. Rob Kelly touchdown. Washington leads.
But besides that, he only had 18 yards on his 14 carries, which is an atrocious 1.3 yards per carry. The offensive line was some hot butt. But out of Chris Thompson, Samaje Perine, and Rob Kelly was the only running back to record a negative rush. So some of it might have still been his fault. Chris Thompson made things shake when he got the ball, but he didn't get it much. On only 4 carries, he had 20 rushing yards, which is 5 yards per carry. So you could technically give him the ball twice and get a first down whenever you wanted to. But he still wasn't used much, which was weird. He caught 4 of his 6 targets for 11 yards, so he wasn't deadly in the passing game against the Seahawks like he normally is. You could tell they game plan to stop him on passing plays. But when that happens, it opens things up for other offensive players. And even with the less productive day, Chris still leads all running backs in receiving yards with 453, average yards per catch with 12.9, and average receiving yards per game with 56.6. Samaje Perine had 2 rushes for 9 yards, decent rushes. He also played some fullback, but he also had a very ugly fumble. It came up as a fumble for Kirk Cousins in the stat book, but it was Samaje's fault.
Time he needed.
They will run it, it's fumbled. Ball is loose.
Time he needed.
They will run it, it's fumbled. Ball is loose.
Sad. Samaje only played on 6 offensive snaps all game, and I'm sure this fumble was the catalyst for that coaching decision. He has a fumbling problem for some reason. It's weird, but he is a rookie, so I don't know. Our tight ends, we were short at tight end with Jordan Reed and Niles Paul out before the game even started. Jeremy Sprinkle was active on the roster for the 3rd time this year. He clearly showed he is our best blocking tight end on the team, but his weakness is route running and the receiving game period. He is the exact opposite of Vernon Davis. Vernon Davis is still below average with blocking. He wasn't terrible against the Seahawks, but he's still not consistent enough to truly trust him in that department. Even though he had a decent block here.
Comes in at fullback. Kelly the back. Rob Kelly going forward. Rob Kelly touchdown. Comes in at fullback. Kelly the back. Rob Kelly going forward. Rob up.
But you know where we can trust him? Receive it. That man balls out as a receiver. He leads all NFL tight ends in average yards per reception with 16.7. On this play, Vernon got open with some good route running.
On third down, Cousins looking, firing, completing. It's Vernon Davis.
And on this next play, Vernon has some good route running, finding an open spot in the zone coverage.
Second down, Cousins over the middle. He's got wide open. That time Davis is wide open. He's got the catch.
And on this last play I'm going to show y'all for him, he made a tough grown man catch with a defender on his back, and he also made a good fight for a few more yards.
Legs against their pressure if necessary.
Four-man rush. He's got time. Throws into traffic. Somehow it's caught by Vernon Davis.
Take a look as Cousins puts it out there, and look at right. He's contesting it the whole way, and Vernon Davis.
I love Vernon as a receiver. I rock with him the long way in the receiving aspect of football, just not as a blocker. If we can get Vernon Davis and Jeremy Sprinkle to do a fusion dance, then that would be an all-pro tight end, Hall of Famer. Our wide receivers, with limited roster space and a lot of it going to both sides of the trenches, offensive line and defensive line, we were only able to have 4 active receivers. That's so ugly. If one of them got hurt, it would have gotten really ugly, especially with only 2 active tight ends to go along with only 4 active wide receivers. But the receivers actually played well against the Seahawks. Didn't have the stats or points to really show for it, but the offensive line didn't allow things to develop, so there were a lot of moments where the receivers were going to get open, but Kirk didn't have enough time to let the routes develop and throw the ball to him. But let's get to these individuals. Ryan Grant, with his 59 season high in snaps, played well. He caught all of the 3 passes thrown his way, going for 39 yards, and 2 of those catches gained first downs, making plays. I love it. I also like that he has a catch percentage of 73% this season, which is a huge upgrade from his 51% last year. Big improvement. But his blocking is still some butt, and he had a couple of moments where his route running was butt too. Gotta work on that, please. Brian Quick played a season high 2 snaps, and it's funny because last year on the Rams, he never played less than 31 snaps in a game, but he had only played a total of 11 snaps in our first 7 games. But he played well against the Seahawks. He also caught all 3 of his targets for 49 yards. 2 of his catches were also for first down gains, just like Ryan Grant. Great run after catches, and his last catch was the best of them all.
Second down. Freeney coming again. Cousins gets rid of it. Has a man. Quick's got it. In Seattle territory.
Watch number 83 in white. He looks inside, and the ball comes over his outside shoulder. You see how he made the adjustment? Beautiful throw, and a wonderful catch by Quick.
Great route, great catch. Terrell Pryor actually played well. He was running some great routes and getting open. Sucks that he wasn't getting a lot of catching opportunities, but he caught 2 of his 3 targets for 17 yards, and both of them were for first downs. Efficient. He drew a pass interference call on Richard Sherman with some great route running, which led to Rob Kelly's first touchdown. Big moment. And on this play,
he's got time over the middle. He's got a completion. It's Pryor.
Pryor ran a good route, and thank you for coming back to the ball and catching it, which was something he was not doing the majority of the season, especially the catching part. And the man of the hour, Josh Doctson, he played well also. He had a career high in receiving yards with 59, catching 3 of his 5 targets, and 2 of these 3 catches went for first downs, just like Ryan Grant, Brian Quick, and Terrell Pryor, which is really weird actually. But here's a good catch he had in the 4th quarter.
On second down, the bootleg in trouble. Cousins slings it high, and it's caught.
And y'all already know about this clutch big play that led to the game-winning Rob Kelly touchdown.
Cousins back again, firing deep for Dotson. Diving! He's got it!
So Dotson, look at that. Cradles it, has possession of the football, and hangs on to it. People wonder, did it hit the ground? And no one has touched him at this point. Is he in? Because as he's rolling over, has he crossed the goal line?
Seattle calls his 3rd and final charge timeout at the half.
All right, so first of all,
on that play, Josh Doctson did a great job with not allowing the corner to get his hands on him and not getting jammed and disrupting the timing of the route. Also, great speed and of course, great catch. Probably NFL catch of the week with that dive and how he got his hands under the ball to secure it. I'm so happy and proud to see him getting better and better each week. In general, we are seeing progress from all of the receivers now, thank goodness, but Josh Doctson is the clear-cut biggest improvement. He is making plays and I love it. But overall, the offense was sluggish and in wasn't effective for most of the game, but this all stems from the beat up offensive line. Rob Kelly and Chris Thompson can't run if there are no holes. Kirk Cousins can't make reads and throw accurate balls if he's getting thrown around all game. And the receivers and tight ends can't throw it to themselves. The receivers and tight ends need to improve their blocking also. But hey, the offense made big plays when it mattered most. There's a lot of room for improvement, and there's a lot of players that need to get healthy, but they did enough to get that dub. Now this defense, the defense was locked down. If Russell Wilson wasn't athletic and able to scramble so much and be a dual threat, I feel like Seattle would have never scored. They could only produce yards on off-scheduled plays where Russell Wilson scrambled, or on plays where the defense had to keep eyes on Russell Wilson rather than doing what they wanted to do and play their assignments, so they were distracted. But even with all of these struggles that comes with defending against mobile Pro Bowl quarterbacks, they still played very well and minimalized big plays. Now let's talk about these trenches. With Matt Ioannidis and Jonathan Allen still out for considerable amounts of time, Terrell McClain, Ziggy Hood, Anthony Lanier, and Stacey McGee all stepped up big. Terrell McClain played better than I'm used to seeing him play. Wasn't great, but it was definitely better, and he had a really clutch sack on Russell Wilson on that final drive that caused a lot of controversy on whether or not it was a sack.
10 seconds left. Wilson looking in trouble, throws it.
Great pressure there, Terrell McClain. I appreciate it. The clock should have never stopped. The game should have ended right there. There's just almost no way Seattle would have got back to the line of scrimmage in time, but the refs were tripping for some reason, and they allowed that Hail Mary play to happen afterwards that could have cost us the game. But never mind that. Anthony Lanier played his season high in snaps this season with 31 and played well during these 31 snaps. He didn't get a statistical tackle, but he did get 2 QB hits, and he led the defensive line with a 14% pressure rate. He's getting better and better. I'm optimistic about his future. Ziggy Hood did a lot of the dirty work. I'm happy to see him improving also. We finally had a nose tackle on Sunday. He recorded 1 tackle on the stat sheet, but he was causing a lot of trouble. He forced 2 holding penalties that would have gone for a total of 19 yards, but ended up costing the Seahawks 20 yards, which is a 39-yard swing. I see you, Zig. Stacey McGee had the game of his life. Pro Focus even rated him as our second best player against the Seahawks, offense and defense, only rated lower than D Hall, who I'm gonna talk about later. But Stacey was getting it in. He only played on 31 snaps, but he earned some of that contract on Sunday. He had 4 tackles, with 2 of them being solos. He also forced Russell Wilson into a hurry. He was consistently beating the man in front of him. He looked like a Pro Bowler out there. I don't know what was going on. I hope so bad that he can play like that consistently. It will change our team. Arthur Jones, who we just flew in and just signed, only played 23 snaps before he dislocated his shoulder. He didn't have much of an impact on the game before that injury. But that's crazy how we have so many injuries that we had to hurry up and sign him and fly him into the game to play. And then he even got hurt. I mean, this is a season to remember, y'all. Medical staff working overtime. But shouts out to the D-line for playing way better than they ever did prior to this game. And that goes for all of them. They all stepped up big against the Seahawks. They even earned individual pictures. I normally just put up one picture and talk about all of them real quick because they normally don't matter much. But Sunday, them boys balled out. But now I'm expecting this every week. Now that I see what they're capable of, I want this every time. Now these outside linebackers. Ryan Kerrigan played well for the most part. He had 3 tackles, and he had several hurries on Russell Wilson. He got hurt at a certain point and came back in. I just wish he did a better job at stopping Russell Wilson from getting out the pocket. Contain him. Like with Alex Smith of the Chiefs, Russell Wilson usually escaped the pocket and scrambled towards Ryan Kerrigan with success. And Ryan Kerrigan also had a dumb tackle.
3rd and 15. Wilson. He's got time, and now he's going to run and look. And now he decides to run it. Looking for a block. Shove forward.
Like, why? You pushed him into getting more yards. He must have been frustrated. But besides that, he did his thing. He had one huge highlight that people probably didn't even notice on the last play of the game, where the Redskins only rushed 2 and the Seahawks had 6 people blocking. So it was like 3 people assigned to block Kerrigan, and he still almost got a sack.
Wilson. One man rush, but here comes Kerrigan. He gets away. Wilson. One man rush, but here comes Kerrigan.
Y'all see that? That's crazy. If Russell Wilson wasn't great in the pocket, that would have been a sack and ended the game. That would have been all over SportsCenter top plays. There's no way a 2-man rush should result in a sack. Ever. That man Ryan Kerrigan is a beast, y'all, you hear me? Ryan Anderson actually played well this game. He played his best NFL game by far. The rookie from Alabama had a tackle and a QB hit. He was good against the run, and he brought some pressure to the QB. I'm proud. Progress. Finally. And your boy Ryan Anderson even played some fullback in place of Niles Paul, who was hurt. He didn't do much on either of the touchdown plays he played fullback in. On this first play here, he was just kind of there.
13th play of the drive. It's Kelly, and he is in.
And on this play, he was kind of there again. But at least he got in the way.
Ryan Anderson comes in at fullback. Kelly the back. Rob Kelly going forward.
It's so random and weird to see him play at fullback. But we scored touchdowns, so even though he didn't do much, it worked. So if he's a good luck charm, I need him in there in every goal line play. You hear me, Jay Gruden? Preston Smith had a great game, run stopping and rushing the passer. Only recorded 1 tackle though, but he had 2 QB hits, no statistical jump outs, but he was definitely effective. It's crazy that he had at least a half a sack every game of the season till Jonathan Allen got hurt. But now that Allen has been hurt these past 3 games, Preston hasn't recorded a single sack in any of these last 3 games. He's been playing well, but he's not benefiting from the attention Jonathan Allen received, so he's not getting as much statistical production out of it. It's crazy. Junior Gillette also played pretty well. He caused a holding penalty that eliminated a big 47-yard pass play to Doug Baldwin. He also hurried Russell Wilson on multiple dropbacks. He was looking like the Saints version of himself in his limited 31 snaps this game. I'm proud. I can't wait for him to get back to his 100% self. He's going to be unguardable. He already showed signs of greatness against the Seahawks. But to this inside linebacker group, Will Compton played very well. I love how he's making the most out of his opportunity to start again. He is outplaying Martrell Spate, and it resulted in Compton playing in 82 snaps, while Martrell only played in 2. But Will Compton played his tail off. With his first start of the season, he had 3 passes defended and 8 tackles, with 7 of them being solos. That's crazy. He also had a hurry as a pass rusher. And I know y'all saw that interception he had where he was in perfect position after Zach Brown pressured Russell Wilson.
Story for the Redskins. Second down. Pressure again by Brown. Wilson steps around. Intercepted right into the hands of Will Compton. And the pressure by Zach Brown made it happen.
This was one of Will Compton's best games ever of his career. He had 2 other plays where he could have had interceptions, but they just didn't end up being interceptions. I see that, man. And y'all already know how Zach Brown get down. The MVP of our defense so far this year was everywhere doing everything as usual. He led the team in tackles again like every other game this season with 11, and 8 of them being solos. He is still first in the NFL in tackles with 86, and he's tied for first in the NFL in solo tackles with 57. But Zach Brown doesn't just tackle, he also rushes the passer very well. He got a sack, and he led the team with 3 QB hits. One of these hits caused the interception by Will Compton I just showed.
Story for the Redskins. Second down. Pressure again by Brown. Wilson steps around. Intercepted. Story for the Redskins. Second down. Pressure again by Brown.
That man out there hawking down these quarterbacks. I love how Greg Minuski is drawing up blitzes for him. Very effective and great way to execute Zach Brown. He was our defensive MVP so far in my opinion. Now the cornerbacks. Josh Norman was the only cornerback to play all 83 defensive snaps. Minus 2 plays, he played great. He had 1 horse collar tackle on Jimmy Graham, but Blair Walsh missed the field goal so it didn't hurt us at all. And he also gave up that big play to Doug Baldwin where he tried to jam him and failed miserably, which resulted in a touchdown and gave Seattle the lead late in the game.
A lot of time. Wilson lets it go. He's got a man wide open. Baldwin.
So watch Baldwin. Look at how he got through Josh Norman. That was one of the better moves at the line of scrimmage you're going to get against one of the better corners. Watch Baldwin right here. See that? Norman came up to stab him or punch him at the line of scrimmage to hold him there and knock him off his route. He gave him what they call an arm over or a swim move. Over the top, ran through it.
But besides those 2 plays, he was out there balling. I love his relentless effort to make plays, like where Seattle had already gained the first down and Josh Norman is trying his best to punch the ball out.
On 1st and 10, they will run it. Rawls. Thomas Rawls into the open field. Thomas Rawls into the open field.
I love that. Didn't work out, but I want more of that from everybody on this team. Just make sure y'all don't give up more yards trying to punch it out. Also, did y'all see Josh Norman running folks over on that 2-point conversion craziness?
Norman, who's going to get there? Still on his feet. Another lateral.
He might need to play a little bit of running back. But no, we need him on defense. But that was funny to me though. And also he had that probably game-saving tackle where he brought Thomas Rawls down by his arm with maximum effort to not allow Rawls to get 1 more yard for the first down.
Rev up those fryers, cause I am sure hungry for what? Help! Help! My leg!
You see how Thomas Rawls tried to stiff arm him and he grabbed his arm and was trying to pull his shoulder out of his socket? That open field tackle was legendary. Fourth quarter, only up by 8, and you make that play? Crazy. Big players do big things. He was locked up as usual. Quarterback scared to throw it his way again. Shark in the water, lurking. Great game, Josh Norman. And if y'all didn't know, Josh Norman's 25% catcher rate when not press covering is the best in the NFL. So he is statistically the best cornerback in the league at covering receivers when he's not pressing. That's lockup. Quentin Dunbar played well also. He had one critical missed tackle here.
Wilson has time. Standing in. Fires. Complete. Richardson breaks a tackle to the 40.
But he played well besides that. He had 3 solo tackles and nearly picked off Russell Wilson on that final drive of the game. I would have loved to have seen that play made. But good defense, great in coverage. Didn't play as many snaps as he has the past few games because Breland and Norman were both healthy. But he made the most out of his 44 snaps. He did his thing. Kendall Fuller was legendary in this game. He is not only playing very well and with skill and technique, but he is also playing with a lot of confidence, with trusting himself and his teammates. Look at this big boy interception in the first quarter.
Need to get to the 45. Blitz throw, and it's intercepted. It is picked up by Kendall Fuller.
Watch him 29 and white. Look at him. Just puts his foot in the ground and goes and gets it and meets Doug Baldwin at the spot after the catch. That has to be reviewed on this play.
Woo-wee! That's a bad man right there. Only in his second year and doing stuff like this? He read Russell Wilson's eyes and then had the athleticism, speed, and hands to react and make the play. And he didn't just knock the ball down, he intercepted it. I mean, he just straight up took it. That interception made him the youngest Redskins player at 23 years old to record 3 interceptions in a season since the transcendent 21-year-old Sean Taylor had 4 interceptions in 2004. Fred Smoot, Champ Bailey, Tom Carter, and AJ Johnson have also accomplished this. So Kendall is in good company. Kendall Fuller should have also had another interception, but Will Compton tipped it and messed it all up. But Fuller also had 3 tackles, so he was hitting folks too, just getting it in. Breland returned from injury and played on his season low 47% of defensive snaps. He had 2 solo tackles and 1 assisted, and he had a pass defended. He had a pretty good game, just didn't have a lot of opportunities to go crazy and show what he's made of. Now the safeties. D'Angelo Hall, man. That man played his tail off. He returned with a statement. He went out there and played all 83 defensive snaps. That's crazy. He mostly played deep safety against the Seahawks, so he was only targeted 3 times, but he had 2 passes defended, with one of them being this game closer.
Wilson. One man rush, but here comes Kerrigan. He gets away. He sets. He throws a Hail Mary to the end zone. It is incomplete. What a game in Seattle. And it was close at the end. Tan's in there to give the Redskins one of their hardest fought wins.
Thank you so much, D-Hall, for that one. That man stepped into the fountain of youth this game. So glad to have him back. He looked like one of our top 3 best players against the Seahawks. He had 4 solo tackles and 5 total tackles. His other pass defended should have been intercepted. He had great position, but he dropped it, which is expected of somebody who's only played 17 of 48 possible games since 2014. He's been hurt. He's still getting rid of some of his rust, but phenomenal game. Pro Football Focus had him rated as our best player against the Seahawks between the offense and defense. And D'Angelo Hall even returned a little bit. He didn't do much with it, but that's crazy. He hasn't returned in years, y'all. DJ Swearinger, who also played all 83 of the Redskins defensive snaps, had a great game, looking like an all-pro safety again. He made 3 tackles, which is his thing. We all know how he does hitting folks, but he also covered very well this game too. He had 2 passes defended. He was no-fly zone. I'm glad to see him recover some of that coverage skill and confidence. He played lights out. I know y'all saw his 2-point conversion interception where he signaled Zach Brown to move over a little because he knew exactly where the Seahawks were planning to throw it on that 2-point conversion play that looked a lot like the Super Bowl against the Patriots.
Play clock at 1. Get it off. Wilson throwing. No, it's intercepted, and this could go. Wilson racing to stop Swearinger. Makes a cut. Swearinger still going a lateral. Norman, who's going to get there? Still on his feet. Another lateral. Look at this play. And finally taken down on the Redskins.
Great read, great interception, legendary. And you can't really see it on the live footage, only on the film study footage, but they were one more pitch back away from getting the 2 points they were trying so hard to get. Just one more toss back, DJ. But anyway, great game, DJ Swearinger. You balled out. Overall, the defense locked the Seahawks down, held them to 14 total points in their home stadium. Other than Russell Wilson scrambling, the defense held Seahawks running backs to 71 rushing yards and no touchdowns. The defense also only allowed 5 of 14 third downs to be converted into first downs. The defense also forced the Seahawks offense into a lot of penalties. The Seahawks offense was responsible for the majority of their 16 penalties that resulted in 138 yards lost. The only real problem the defense had all game was Russell Wilson's ability to scramble everywhere and make plays on the run like this one.
3rd and 15. Wilson. He's got time, and now he's going to run and look. And now he decides to run it. Looking for a block. Shove forward. That actually might have gotten him a first down.
Good pressure by the D-line and the outside linebackers, but Russell Wilson was just being Russell Wilson. And this happened a lot, picking up first downs with his legs and his arms after using his legs. But the Redskins defense did what they could to minimize this. Also, the Redskins defense was so good that they won the game with the offense only gaining 244 total yards. That's the fewest yards in a regular season victory for us since our 190-yard performance in a 21-19 win versus Arizona on October 21st, 2007. Also, the Redskins defense is consistently dominant in opening possessions. We have held our opponents scoreless on opening possessions every game since week 2. That's 7 straight games, and that's something we haven't done since 2007 also. 2007 must have been a lockup year for us. Now, Nick Rose, he did his thing on his 2 PATs and his 28-yard field goal. Didn't have much of a challenge to work with. Can't say the same for Blair Walsh though, who missed 3 crucial field goals within the 50-yard line. Shouts out to you. We got that check in the mail for you, bruh. But back to Nick Rose. He kicked very well too. 3 of his 4 kickoffs resulted in touchbacks, and that one non-touchback was only returned 21 yards to the 18-yard line. Petty stuff. Messed up his perfect kick percentage. Tressway did his thing on the punts a little bit. Not as good as we're used to seeing him. We punted the most this game than any other game this season with 8. So his punting yards 320 and net yards 275 were higher, but he wasn't very efficient. He had an average of 40 yards per punt, which is now his season low. I don't know what was wrong with him. But that's it for this episode. Thanks for the view. I had so much fun watching film in this game. I love great defense. Offense is exciting, but I love great defense. So I enjoyed this game a lot. And the healthier we get, the better we get. Do y'all feel halfway through the season that this Redskins team is the most complete and well-rounded it has been since our championship days? Let me know in the comments. Be heard. And make sure y'all Dolemite fake punch that like button, favorite, subscribe. I'll subscribe back. And most importantly, comment and share. And again, thank y'all for the support. I'll catch y'all later. I'm out.